Yes, we are starting. Very good afternoon and welcome to all. Second, having the nuances. We have dealt with the fundamental things which are and more pertinently we discussed in the NDS Act. So these things were mens rea and presumption. So in this session, we'll be exclusively focusing on pre-search proceedings which are conducted uh, during the course of investigation, of course. So we'll gradually move ahead with the other aspects which are also fundamental aspects of NDPS Act. So today again we are having with us Mr. Pradeep Mehta, Joint Director, Retired Prosecution, and now presently serving as faculty member at Chandigarh Judicial Academy. So welcome, Mr. Mehta, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So we had received some responses from the participants, which of course I had for Mr. Mehta. And accordingly, we have planned these sessions, which we will be having today and in further due course of time. We'll be having more sessions depending upon the views received from our participants. So without taking much of your time, we'll start with Mr. Mehta's session. So one thing just I'll tell to the participants that now I have made Mr. M.K. Sharma as also co-host in the program. So if I have to leave this session midway, probably Mr. M.K. Sharma would be taking over from me, so depending upon the sense of urgency which we can have. So I'll request Mr. Mehta to start this session. Yes, Mr. Mehta, please commence the session.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, officers. So I welcome you to this session. As in the previous session, it has been told by Mr. Rajiv Gupta that we have discussed the overview of the NDPS Act, and that we have found that in chapter 5, the procedure which is required to be followed by the IO, by the court, or otherwise has been laid down. And I will not hesitate to say that in this session, we will be discussing only the pre-recovery procedure or the pre-recovery, the directions which have been given by the Act, met with by the IO, that how they have to proceed with when there is information or when there is a sudden recovery. So all these are very important. Why these are important? Because, if we look at the decisions of the cases, then probably in most of the cases where acquittal is there, generally the ground for acquittal is either the procedure pre-recovery has not been followed or the post-recovery has not been followed, or the link is defective. One has not been able, or the prosecution has not been able to prove that yes, this material which has been tested by the laboratory was the same which was recovered from the accused and was sent to the laboratory. No, in Jammu and Kashmir, I was reading that about 968 quintals of narcotic drugs have been recovered in last 5 and 6 years. And I was astonished to see that in between 2008 to 2013, only 2 to 5 cases were ended in conviction, whereas 867 cases were acquitted. And mainly, the reasons have been that either there is default in following the procedure, or the personal search which was conducted was not taken properly as per the dictates of Section 50. You know, the mandatory object of all these provisions is that simple, that there should be, accused should not be falsely implicated, because there is a legal right to the accused, which has been granted under Section 50. We will be discussing it. And for a fair and reasonable trial, it is there that the victim as well as the accused both should get the justice. So, without discussing in detail the reasons, we will be going one by one. Now, first we will deal with the 3 provisions which are there in Section 41, 42, and 43. Whole procedure, how the person, how the investigating officer, how the empowered officer is to proceed with. Now, all the 3 sections are very finely divided, very finely. They are taking care of different things. When we read Section 41, it speaks of 3 things. 1, getting the warrants from the magistrate, subsection 1. Getting the warrants from the magistrate. Now, it says that when there is, say, some reasons to believe with the officer, then that this offense is being done, which is there under the Act, in a building, conveyance, or otherwise, in a place in which he has reasons to believe that either, now see what things have been mentioned, any narcotic, drug, or psychotropic substance or controlled substance is there, or any document or other article is there, which may furnish evidence that some offense has been committed, or some material, such material has been recovered from which the presumption can be raised under Section 54. Specially designed apparatuses are there, or such document or that illegal property which has been acquired by selling the drugs is there in the building, or in conveyance which is there with the person. Then, for those reasons, the warrants can be taken by applying to the metropolitan magistrate or the magistrate of first. However, it is also written magistrate of second class, specially empowered. Now see, subsection 2, which I was saying the second, what it says, that empowered officer. Now the question last time was that who are the empowered officers? So, dear officers, for all the, okay, I will say 41 and 42, empowered officers are somewhat different. Under subsection 41, gazetted rank officers, if they are of the central government agencies, say customs, central excise, revenue intelligence, etc., if they are of central government, then by the special or general order of the central government. If they are of the state government, say revenue, drug control, excise, police, then by the special or general order of the state government. These are the empowered officers, only gazetted officers, meaning they were not less than DS in Punjab police or otherwise. Gazetted officers say excise and taxation. So all these persons who are gazetted officers, they can be so empowered under section 41. And if they have the personal knowledge that yes, again, the same thing for which the warrants could have been taken, all the 4 things or 5 things which we have mentioned, if they are there in his view, then what he can do? He may authorize any officer subordinate, but superior to the rank of peon and other constables, meaning they were not less than this. Otherwise, generally below the ASI, they are not giving power. He can further delegate his power. Gazetted officer who is empowered can further delegate his powers, go by and arrest such person, enter into such building and do all the things which are there in section 42. Or he himself has the power to. And one major thing is there here, that it can be either by day or by night. There is no restriction that he can enter the building only during the sunrise and sunset. So here, now the officer whom a warrant has been given, 1. Second, empowered officer who has been so authorized by the central or the state government, or an officer who has been further authorized by that empowered officer who is not less than the rank of gazetted officer, to have all the powers which are there in section 42, so as to enter into the building, break open the lock. We will be discussing that. So this part of section deals with only this thing. Now, when we go to section 42, which reads as, the head note which reads as, power of entry, search, seizure and arrest without warrant or authorization. You see here, without authorization. But he must be empowered officer. Here the difference is. Meaning that he need not to be otherwise authorized. Meaning that authorization by the court, not the otherwise authorized. Only warrants are authorizing the person to enter into. But here, the power can be given to the persons who are empowered in this regard by the state or the central. Now, what is the marked difference between 41 and 42? There it was gazetted officer, not less than the gazetted officer. Here, it is not less than the peon, spy or constable. But they must be superior in rank to those. Meaning they were minimum head constable, minimum ASI. So those should be the persons who are superior in rank to the peon, spy or constable. So generally, ASI and other officers are included from police and otherwise also of the departments of central excise, narcotics. Again, the same thing. They can be empowered. Now, who can empower them? Again, if they are from the central government department, it will be by the orders of central government. Special or general order again of central government. Whereas they are from excise, police, drugs, state revenue, then they can be empowered by the state government, by general or special order. Now, here, if such empowered officer have reasons to believe from his personal knowledge or by an information given to him by some other person. So here, this is the catch. Either from his personal knowledge or on information given by any person that some offense is being committed by any person, all those things, or the search of all those things, but he can move, but between sunrise and sunset. There the embargo is that he cannot enter after the sunset and sunrise. Under this subsection 1 of section 42. Now, what it means? That yes, if he is having information with regard to that yes, something is, some offences being punishable under this act has been committed, or again, what was there in section 41, any document or article which may furnish evidence for the commission of such offence. Articles can be, of course, as I have said just now, that the utensils, the specially designed utensils or residue of manufactured opium, which is lying there. So, which can furnish some evidence that yes, some offense has been committed. And if apart from that, illegal gotten money or a document which can furnish that yes, this is the money or for freezing or forfeiture, this money is there, then in that case, he can enter into and search the building, conveyance, or any place. But secondly, he is empowered to break open the lock, door, or remove the obstacle if it is caused by the person in whose premises search is being made. Then he has the power to seize such drug and all other things he can confiscate under the act, which are liable to be confiscation, not confiscate, which are liable to be confiscation, those things can be seized. Or the documents which can furnish evidence, again the same thing which we have discussed just now, those things can be seized. He can detain, search, and also arrest the person if it is that yes, he has committed such offense because this has been seized. Now he should also be arrested. So all these 4 forwards are there in subsection 1 of 42. But now, what is most important thing, that if he receives this information, he must take down it in writing. He must take down in writing and send that to the officer superior within 72 hours. Either immediately, but not later than 72 hours. So this is a sort of check that whatever he has done, it is in the knowledge of the senior. Now, 2 proviso has been added to this section in 2014. One is that if a person is a licensee for the manufacture of manufactured drug or psychotropic substances, then though he may be an empowered officer, but an officer not below the rank of sub-inspector can enter the building. This is very important because some senior officer who is more responsible should enter in such premises where a person is holder of license. And secondly, if such officer has reasons to believe that a search warrant or authorization cannot be obtained without affording opportunity of concealment or escaping of the offender, he may enter the building even after the sunset and before the sun. But these things have been added, but for that, he will have to again write that no time is there, and in view of him, his view, he can escape or he can conceal the evidence, which can be very helpful for the proving the case. So in those cases, after recording the grounds, which again have to be sent to the senior officer, enter the building before sunrise and after sunset. Now, here, since in subsection 2, it is clearly written that if some officer is, it is incumbent, it is mandatory that he used to record his reasons. If some information is given to him, then that information or the grounds of his belief, which are there in the proviso, that is, yes, if not, and I enter the building between the sunset and the sunrise, he may escape or may conceal the evidence. Then in that case, both the writings are to be, reasons of his belief are to be sent to the senior officer within 72 hours. Now, a very interesting situation can arise that, say, a person is on patrol duty. He has left the police station after making an entry into the DDR that I am going for patrol duty. And just, or his nakabandi in connection with some elements, bad elements. There information is received. Now he cannot record it here. And even if he records, he cannot send it. Oh, he will be, though now these days we are having mobile phones and all that. But, or it may be that he may get the information through mobile. Both the things can be there. Then how to proceed in such a situation has been decided by the constitutional bench, which I told you on that day that when we will be discussing Karnail Singh's case, we will be dealing this aspect. So now it is a constitutional bench case, Karnail Singh versus State of Haryana. It was 2009, volume 8, SCC, page 539. In this case, since there were different opinions, they have come up with that whenever, now this is para 17, if I am not wrong, I remember vividly in the judgment, that if an officer on receiving the information he had to record it in writing in the concerned register and forthwith send a copy of his immediate officer superior before proceeding to take action in the terms of class A to D of section 40. Now this means that before proceeding, he should send the information which he has recorded that he is going there before proceeding, so that it may reach in time when he is going there. Secondly, no, they have taken care of that part which we have discussed just now. But the information is received when he is not in the police station. He was on the move, or it is received by some other means. Then it would not be practicable for him to note down the writing according to the information, and in such a situation, he could take action according to the classes A to D of the section 42, and thereafter, as soon as practical thereafter. he will send that information after recording it to the official superior. From this things comes out from these two things, that normally the person should note down, and after jotting it in the register, he should send that information or the copy of that to the superior officer, and then should normally proceed to the spot of information. And in special circumstances, which he will mention thereafter, he received the information out of the police station and he thinks that it is very urgent and he can postpone the sending of the information after its recording to a reasonable period, and he can send it after the C-ring. He makes the entry, he gets the thing recovered, he gets the accused arrested, and then thereafter he can send that to the higher officer. Now, what they have said in the last, non-compliance of these requirements, which have been laid down in section 42, subsection 1 and 2, along with the proviso, of course, is not permissible. It is totally impermissible. But yes, in certain situations, delayed compliance with satisfactorily explaining that what were the reasons which caused the delay, must be done as soon as possible after the action. In that case, non-sending of the information before initiating the action will not be taken as violation of section. This was the law laid down to explain it. Now, so thereafter, after this authority, the care is to be taken according to these dictates which are there in the authority, so as that any departure which makes the search illegal may not be. Now, section 43. I told you that there are three sections, section 41, 42, and 43. Now, this is power of seizure and arrest in public place. Now, here, any of the officers of the departments which are there, customs, central excise, then revenues, intelligence revenue, then army, paramilitary forces, all that, who have been so authorized, then they can seize in public place or in transit any narcotic drug or psychotropic substance in respect of which they believe that offense punishable under this act has been. And in this, they can also seize the animal, conveyance, or article which can be liable for confiscation subsequently. The very material thing which has been added in 2014 after the amendment, those are conveyances. So all the documents, all the things, all the contrabands can be seized, along with, of course, the documents if they are in possession with the person. And the person can also be arrested. Here, very important thing has been mentioned in this section, which will go back to when we were discussing section 35 and we were discussing the possession and have discussed joint possession. So here it is written, arrest that person and any person who is in his company, so that he may also be the accused. He is to face trial because knowledge will be attributed, mens rea will be attributed, and he will have to go for the reverse burden. This is written in section 43. Please read it. Not only the person from whom the contraband has been recovered, but also any other person in his company. And we have discussed also that this, of course, analogy will not apply to the vehicles which are public transport. But here, the expression public place, because when this section was read, it was there, seize in any public place or in transit. Now, explanation has been appended. For the purposes of this section, what they have said that will be the public places? Yes, conveyances, public conveyances, hotels, shops, or other places intended to be used by or accessible to the public. Any malls, shops, all the places which are accessible to the public, those will be the public places. Here, hotels have also been mentioned. But anyhow, there is one authority where they have said room of the hotel will not be a public place. I think if room is held to be not a public place, so no distinction has been laid down in explanation. But then it will mean there only lobby will be. Lobby of the hotel or dining room or hall of the hotel will be public place, not anything else. Then why to include this whole hotel? I don't know how the authority has been there. But anyhow, what has been written in the explanation, that is what. Now there are sections from 41 to 50. 44 to 49, which are taking these things further, not very materially laying down any instruction or the way in which the search has to be made. As for the growing of plants of cannabis, poppy, coca, all the powers which are there, 41, 42, 43 have been given for the entry into those lands where the plants are there, and all the words which are there, say for psychotropic substances, narcotic drugs, controlled substances, those can be construed as coca plant, poppy, and cannabis plant. And now, very important sections are 46 and 47. If in somebody's land, these types of things generally come up. If in the land of someone, some other person has cultivated the poppy plants, cultivated the cannabis plants, then in that case, what has been said by this section, that if he knowingly neglects to inform the authorities under section 41 and 42, then he will be. And here, the knowingly will go to the section 35, because whenever there is any question of mens rea, a mental intention is there in the act, section 35 will raise a presumption by the court that yes, he was having the requisite mens rea, though it will be a defense to prove the fact that he was having no such intent. So here the word used is knowingly neglect. Whereas in section 47, this knowingly neglects is not there, because this duty has been casted upon the officers of the village, panches, sarpanches, or the nambardars, etc. Here the difference is because in first case, the person is growing or cultivating such plants on the land of someone, and duty is there of the person. And in the second section 47, it is a duty of these village officers that if they find that yes, or they come to know that he is doing, then they must inform. There only neglect, but here it is knowingly. So there is a marked difference. Then the power of attachment under section 48 is there, and then power to stop and search the conveyances is there under section 49. And very astonishingly, this section includes that even an aircraft can be stopped and can be compelled to land. So this is the thrust of the part of this section, that how far the legislation has gone to protect the citizens from the drugs, abuse of drugs, that if they are suspecting that any offense is going to be committed, any way a transport drug is going to be transported or is likely to be used for that, then that conveyance can be stopped and searched, and for that an aircraft can be compelled to land. And when we read subsection C of this part, and it is written that if the IO or the empowered officer wants to stop that animal or conveyance, he can use all lawful means. But if by exercising all lawful means he fails to stop it, then he can fire upon the vehicle or the animal. But endeavor should be made not to let go that vehicle or animal with the company. So this is the thrust of these sections. Whether it is clear to all the officers, I will be happy if it is so. But anyhow, you can remove your doubts in question answer session. Now I will be coming to a very important provision which has been incorporated in section 50. Excuse me, please. Conditions under which search of person shall be conducted. See here, I will be taking not the law as it is today, but as it stood earlier to the amendment. Because it will make us understand clearly as to why that amendment was there, what was thereafter, and how the law is now. I would like to ask one thing, from Mr. Gupta, whether my audio video is available or not.
Yes, sir. I can see your video also and audio also. Maybe
Right.
some of the participants it is not available because of network at their end. So you can
Right.
continue, sir.
That is why I just wanted to ask. Anyway, so now earlier to amendment which was carried out in 2001, there were only 4 subsections in section. 2 subsections have been later on added in 2001. What were those sections? If you read So one was that how the search is to be conducted, and if the requisition is made thereafter of the gazetted officer or the magistrate as desired by the accused or the person to be searched who has been apprehended, then in that case, how that is to be made, and then the gazetted officer or the magistrate, how he has to act upon. And the fourth one was very important, we will be discussing importantly. Subsequently, no female shall be searched by anyone excepting a female. This was the fourth and the last subsection. Now, if we read the first parts one of this section, it reads as, when an officer duly authorized under subsection 42 is about to search any person. Now, the catchwords are duly authorized officer under section 42 and about to search any person under section 41, 42, and 40. Now, sometimes it is one is get confused that why 41, 42, and 43? When the search is to be made on the public place only of a person only under 43? No. Even if a person is apprehended in a house consequent upon the action taken initiated under section 42, he can also be personally searched. So now here in this section is about to search any person. So all the three sections are taken care of. And now what is thereafter? And shall. Now it is imperative. Word shall has been used if such person so requires. Now these are the most four words in this section. If such person so requires. Take such person without unnecessary delay to the nearest gazetted officer or any of the departments who are there, which we have discussed, central excise, all that, and or the nearest magistrate. Now, from this, what we get that duly authorized officer under section 40. So all the officers who are there mentioned in section 42 is about to search any person. When he will search under section 42? When he is having information. When he is either having personal knowledge or is having an information. So officers, please note that this section does not have any application when there is a chance recovery. In case of chance recovery, this section will not have any application. Now comes about to search any person shall if such person so. Here, I will remind you of the case Miranda versus Arizona, in which US Supreme Court has laid down that in US, the right is there with the accused to keep silence during the investigation or inquiry. Because there, if he says something to the police officer that can be used to his detriment and his conviction can be solely based on that, say, statement before. I will not say confession, statement of before the officer, which he has given, which is given in inquiry or interrogation to the police officer, because there the police is believed. But though here it is not so, and it is barred under section 25, except 27 of the Evidence Act. But now here, when it is said by the section, if such person so require, he does not know that whether this is my requirement. So If we take the law laid down in Miranda versus Arizona, as it has been taken by the Supreme Court in the authority several times, that his right must be made aware to him before interrogating. Before continuing the investigation, before entering into inquiry, he must be made aware of his right. That, look, you have the right to keep silent and not to divulge anything. But if you will say something, that will be taken away. Now, here, similar analogy has been applied. And it has been said that since it is a right, he must be first appraised of it. He must be first made known that you are having this right. And secondly, after making him aware of his right, if such person so requires. Now here comes if such person so requires. That yes, I be taken to magistrate for my personal search. Or some gazetted officer of your department, my brother, be called here. Or I be taken to. Then in that case, if it is not followed, then that will be not a compliance according to section 50. And this mandatory requirement will hit the case. It may be of any recovery, though it will be a small recovery because it is a personal search. And the first case, in which finding was given by the Honorable Supreme Court, was State of Punjab versus Balbir Singh. 1994-3 Supreme Court cases, page 299. State of Punjab versus Balbir Singh. In this case, by laying down all the things which we have discussed in short, of course, they said that failure to inform the person of his rights, one thing. The second thing, if such person so requires, failure to take him to the gazetted officer or the magistrate would meaning thereby that there is a non-compliance of the mandatory provision of section 50. There is a non-compliance of mandatory provision of section 50. And it will affect the prosecution. No, what was said thereafter, it will vitiate the trial. Very important word which has been used, and please note it. It will vitiate the trial. Meaning thereby, now say if a person has been searched subsequently or simultaneously, I will say, when the house was searched, conveyance was searched, and tons of opium or kilos of opium or kilos of other heroin and etc. has been recovered from the vehicle, and small quantity has been recovered from his personal search in defiance to section 50 provisions, whole trial will go. Even the truckload of opium will go, according to this authority. Then there was a much bigger problem than the interpretation of the section which was required. See, the judgment was affirmed by several cases, Sayyid Muhammad, Sayyid Umar, Sayyid, then Ali Mustafa, Abdul Rahman, several cases. But whereas a different view was taken in Purnamal versus director's case, Himachal Pradesh versus Pirthi Chand. What was there? In Purnamal's case, which was of, say, on income tax, a constitutional bench was there that whenever a search is made in defiance to the procedure laid down for the search, some contraband, some documents, or some other things which are making or attracting some offense, will that go? Because of only that procedure has not been properly followed, will that go? The case said, Constitutional Bench said no. Mere default in procedure, following the procedure, will not render the evidence unadmissible in law, and it is very appropriate. Inadmissible in law, so far as the evidence is concerned, which has come up in the search, though which was conducted not following strictly the rules which were laid down. And this case, Prithvi Chand, Himachal Pradesh, Prithvi Chand and Dalab Singh, state of Punjab, were there in contrast to the Mustafa Ali Mustafa's case and other, which we have discussed. Now, what happened? Because that was a decision of Constitutional Bench, Poornamal's case. A Constitutional Bench was constituted of Honorable Supreme Court, and they returned the finding in State of Punjab versus Baldev Singh in 1999, Supreme Court 2378, page number 2378. See, in this case, what was said by Balbir Singh, that it is mandatory, was not given any consideration. Because the only point which was referred to them was that whether the trial will be shaped in view of the authority of the Poornamal, the Constitutional Bench. Now they both said the same thing, which was said by Balbir Singh, without giving any finding as to that whether the provision is mandatory or directory. They said one thing, that when the two things which Balbir Singh has said, that first, he should be made aware of the right, and secondly, if he exercises his right, the person is not taken to the authority, say gazetted officer or the magistrate, for making a search before him, then in that case, the trial will not be vitiated. They changed that law. Trial will not be vitiated so far as the recovery which is there from the search, personal search, that can't be taken into. Very beautifully laid down law that yes, if the procedure which was required to be followed in a personal search has not been followed, let the personal search go. Why the search, which was having no specialized procedure for a search of a vehicle, why that should go? So they said that only that part of the recovery will go which is from personal search. Dear officers, I will request you earnestly that you should read this chapter. Because this is the main thing, that the different laws are coming even today, not following the correct view. I will be coming to that also just now. And if you don't find time to read, I think it is about 55 or 56 pages authority, then please read para 57 of the judgment, in which 10 or 11 points have been mentioned. Though they have said that this is not the whole thing, but yes, these are the points which can be culled out from the judgment. So please read that para. It is last but one para. Read that. Now, here, they have also said that Whether this compliance was done or not will be a matter of evidence. Whether it is, there was no requirement that it should be in writing, rather it has been written. It may or it may not be in writing. But the evidence should be there that yes, the right was made known to him, and thereafter his view was taken, and he said, no, I don't want to be taken anywhere, or I want to be taken to some officer, who is mentioned in that. No, legislation was faced with a situation that two things have been said. It is mandatory by Balbir Singh, and this will vitiate the recovery so far as it is on the personal side. Now they come up with the amendment in 2001 to totally scuttle down whatever the law was laid down by Baldev Singh. Because subsection 5 was added, where it was said that a person who is authorized under section 42 and he finds some person and reason to believe that it is not possible to take him to the nearest gazetted officer or magistrate without the possibility of the person who is going to be served parting with the possession of the psychotropic substance or such documents or article. Then he, instead of taking such person to nearest gazetted officer, can proceed to search the person as empowered under section 100 of the CRA. What is the requirement? Only 2 inhabitants of the locality and such. And then subsection 6 was added, that after conducting the search, now see here in subsection 5 it is that if he feels, if he believes that he cannot be taken to such officer without having the possibility of parting with such possession, then in that case he can take the search according to section 100. And he has to record his reasons, but subsection 6 says that he can record his reasons within 72 hours thereafter, after the search, and then send it to the immediate officials. So whole of the law was smashed by adding these two subsections. And then came the case which we have just discussed, again a constitutional bench on section 42, that is Karnail Singh's case, which we have just discussed. Need not to repeat, but I will definitely say what was laid down there. So, the protection or the safeguard which was given by this section had been tried to be taken away completely, but certain flexibility in the procedural norm were adopted only to balance the urgent situation. As mentioned in, it is only to see if met with an urgent situation, that certain flexibility has been given. It cannot be said that complete go-by has been there to the rules and the authority. The law laid down in Baldev Singh will have to be followed. This was laid down in this authority. Again, though it was on 42, but on section 50, this bench also made this observation, because by that time subsection 6 and 5 were added to that. And then difficulty again arose, because in this Baldev Singh's case, it was left open that it will be a matter of evidence, that whether the compliance was done or not. There were two sets of judgments by the Supreme Court. Sorry. One is Joseph Fernandez case. Then second is Prabhashankar Dubey's case. In these two cases, what was laid down? That so the accused has to be made aware of, but if it is said that if he so opts, he can be taken to. If he so opts, he can be taken to magistrate or the gazetted officer. And that will be a substantial compliance. What was said in these authorities? That will be a substantial compliance to the law. Then the other set was there in which Srimati Krishna Kanwar crime case, in which Supreme Court said that there is no word like substantial compliance. It is like a right, as said in Miranda versus Arizona's case. It is right. His right must be made known to him, and then he should be asked from that whether he want to exercise his right in favor of him or he can dispense with that. So there must be total compliance, because these were the judgments again of 3 judges and 2 judges. Again, a third constitutional bench on this section was constituted, and that was Vijay Singh Chandubha Dudeja versus State of Gujarat, 2011, 1 SCC page 609. 2011, 1 SCC page 609. Vijay Singh, Sin, S-I-N-H, Chandubha Dudeja versus State of Gujarat. Now, in this case, they specifically laid down that it is mandatory and requires a strict compliance. Nothing doing that it is directory, as there was no finding given in the Baldev Singh case, which was also a constitutional bench. So they said that yes, Vijay Singh Chandubha Dudeja was to be made aware of the right, and it is mandatory. And the non-compliance, if he exercises his right, non-compliance will vitiate the conviction. Now here again, though they said the same thing which was said by Baldev Singh case, not Balbir Singh case. If the conviction, if the same is recorded only on the basis of the recovery of the illicit article from the person of the accused during such a search. So meaning thereby, only that part of search which revealed some substance from his person, that will go, not otherwise. If something is recovered from the residence, something is recovered from the conveyance, something is recovered from some other place, that will not be effective. Now here, in this authority, one para was also written. We also feel that though Section 50 gives an option to officer to take such person before the nearest gazetted officer or magistrate, but an endeavor should be produce the suspect before the nearest magistrate, though which was not according to the law. Legal framework was requiring only 2 things which were mainly said by this authority also. And this has created some problems now. Now, next, what they said with regard to the how it should be. Whether the procedure which was required to be followed, that is disclosing him the right and then thereafter asking him, taking his option, is to be followed, is the requirement of Section 50 has to be met as a matter of trial. They said it is a matter of trial. So they said it will not be possible to lay down a framework that this should be done, but simultaneously it must be done. So here the consent memo, preparation of consent memo entered the area of search, of personal search. Now comes very important thing. Suppose now two things are required to be done. Again, I will repeat, though at the cost of repetition, because it must be clear in the minds. It must be made aware of that he is having such right, that if he so requires, he can be taken before the magistrate or he can be taken before the gazetted officer. Now, what they start writing, in the consent memo, इस वक्त दोषी ਨੂੰ काबू किया गया और at this time the accused was apprehended. It is felt that he is having something which is not permissible under the act. He has been made aware of his rights, and thereafter that he can be, if he so likes, if he so requires, be taken before the gazetted officer or the magistrate, and or in case he does not want to, I can take his search. A third person was being entered into the area of taking the search. So they said, no, this will make the consent memo not worthy of credit. So consent memo should only be with regard to the two persons who are there in the section. This is Suresh and others versus State of Madhya Pradesh in 2013 1 SCC page 550. Suresh and others versus State of Madhya Pradesh 2013 1 SCC page 550. And then thereafter came the case, Parmanand's case, State of Rajasthan versus Parmanand, which was in 2014. It is 2014 5 SCC page 345. 2014 volume 5 SCC page 345. State of Rajasthan versus Parmanand and other. In this case, what happened? A joint consent memo was prepared. Say, now if on a scooter or a motorcycle, two persons are going, one is having the bag hung on his shoulder and the other is just dragging the motorbike. Then if both are caught, then the consent memo which was prepared was joint. They said joint memo is of no avail. Supreme Court said in this case, now this is very important. You must made aware to the investigating officers or the empowered officers that you have to prepare consent memo independently of each accused. If there are 4 accused, you should prepare the consent memo of 4 accused. There should be 4 consent. Then there was a case, Arif Khan's case, you might have read, versus State of Uttarakhand. It recently came in 2018. In this case, what was said, though Vijay Singh Chanduba Jadeja was relied upon, in a case where the person was convicted by the session judge as a special judge under NDPS Act, then High Court, Supreme Court said no. In every case, he may or may not opt to be taken to the gazetted officer. He must be taken by the prosecution that the search and recovery was made from the appellant in the presence of the magistrate of the, which according to me is somewhat taking the law ahead, then it is laid down by the legislature. Here, I am reminded of the case State of Bihar versus Khatri, or it is otherwise Khatri versus State of Bihar. 2, where the legal right is there under Section 304 of the CRPC that an accused, if he is not represented by advocate, should be given a legal aid counsel. But in that case, it has been held. If that person refuses to take the aid, if that person says no, keep your legal counsel with you, I am not going to take his help. I am knowing the law, I am well aware, I will argue it myself. Then in that eventuality, the court is not to look after his interest. Similarly here, if that analogy is applied, I think if he refuses to, then no, I don't want to exercise this right in my favor. I think the law should not go for his, though it will, as said in the authority, I agree that it will provide more authenticity. But then the law should not, because law only says that if he is not taken, which is by constitutional benches, 2 constitutional benches, then that will be non-compliance. If he says no and he is not taken, then I think that will not be non-compliance. Though it will provide more authenticity. I interpret this authority in this way. Then, in this case, and the Dalip Singh's case, then one more, it was Sahu's case, I think, which has been cited in this case, Parmanand's case. This said, the acquittal can be also from the recovery, for the recovery which is there from the vehicle, even if the provision of Section 50 is not complied. But that position has now been cleared, and in specific words it has been said in State of Punjab versus Baljinder Singh and another. Recently in 2019, I can give you the citation. It is 2019, Volume 1, RCR Criminal, page 871. 2019 1, RCR Criminal 871, State of Punjab versus Baljinder Singh and another, where they have said that as regards the applicability of Section 50 is concerned, it is amply clear and well settled that mandate of Section 50 is confined only to personal search and not to the search of a vehicle or a container or a premises. So any recovery which is there from, say, container, vehicle, house, premises, bag, which is not a personal search, in that case, the law will not be applicable. Law laid down in Section 50, and in these 2 judgments of the constitutional benches will not be there to help. It will be helping only so far as the recovery relates to personal search and not other. Now, I have said also earlier when I was dealing with Section 42 that because the words were on personal knowledge or secret information, that a case of chance recovery will not be covered. This has been so held in Baldev Singh's case, this has been so held in, because same points, 10 points have been repeated in the case of Karnail Singh and also in case of Vijay Singh Chanduba Jadeja's case. Then in state of Himachal Pradesh versus Sunil Kumar, it has been said that chance recovery, though has not been defined anywhere, and its plain meaning is that when by chance a recovery is made, the police officer stumbles upon the narcotic drug, making a search of the person, then or accidentally found. Then in that case, that is a chance recovery. There are several authorities which have been mentioned in this case also. This is you can note down 2014, volume 4, SCC, page 780. 2014, 4, SCC, page 780. State of Himachal Pradesh versus Sunil Kumar. Now comes, we have used so many times the word personal search, very misunderstood, very misunderstood, a word person. Even now, latest, I am reading some authorities where a search of a bag hung on the shoulder, a polythene envelope holded in hand, is considered as personal search. Say, this thing has been made amply clear in 2005 by Honorable Supreme Court in case of State of Himachal Pradesh versus Pawan Kumar. In State of Himachal Pradesh versus Pawan Kumar, Honorable Supreme Court has made it amply clear that what person means. Now suppose I used to give in one illustration. I am wearing this coat. And under this coat, if I wear a basket, and over this coat, I wear a chest. Anything which is contained in the pocket of any of the three will be my personal search. In order to make understand, if anything is there recovered from all the three, is my personal search. But if in the weather I don't feel comfortable while wearing the chester, which I am wearing over these two things, basket and coat, I take off the chester, place it on my arm and move, and forgot to take note of that I had placed charas in my chester. I am caught. Whether the search of the chester will be my personal search at that stage? Definitely, the answers can be varying. Some may say it will be a personal search, and some may say no. But it is no. It is not a personal search. What has been said in that authority is very material. They said that it means a human being in the society, in the gaze of others, with the appropriate clothing, including footwear, which are essentially to be worn while moving outside. No, what they further said, these clothes or clothing or footwears or coverings, they may be any number, being worn. Now the word is being worn, move along with the human body without extra force. Now those who are science students, there is one thing, have some force and it is equivalent to momentum and other. Now, when there is non-application of extra force to be exerted by the body, and all those clothes are worn, that will be personal search. But if something is being carried out by a person in hand, hung on the shoulder, placed on the head, a hood, gathadi, or something else which is called there in the area, which is, required to be moved with the body, though to be moved with the body, some extra force to be put in by the body, then that will be not personal search. Please read this authority, very finely laid down. And several cases have been laid down in this authority where they have said gunny bags, katta on the shoulder, bag in the hand, plastic bag which the accused is carrying, bag hung on the scooter, etc. They are not covered by the personal search. Because they have mentioned that person is not defined anywhere. Not in NDPS Act, because NDPS Act says a word which has not been defined must be looked into in CRPC. CRPC says a word which is which is not defined here must be seen in the IPC. And when we see the IPC, it is a corporate person. That is of no use. Simply, a person has been defined in the dictionary, and the definition which was given in Oxford Dictionary, that has been taken note of, if I'm not wrong, or a Webster Dictionary. They have very finally laid down the difference between the personal search and the search of the other things in this case. And please, I will request you to read this authority again of State of Himachal Pradesh versus Bhavan, so that the personal search is clear to you. Because if we go to those two authorities, the law will require only that portion will be vitiated. Search of that part will be vitiated. And that recovery will go, and not whole of the recovery. But in certain cases, even due to this lapse, whole of the recoveries are being. So I think what the Supreme Court has said in several cases, that I think recollect the case, but they have said that the procedural lapses should be dealt with utmost sensitivity. The border probabilities are required to be examined, and the courts are not yet to be swayed away by minor things, contradictions, or insignificant discrepancies. Now, but here, for this personal search, we have two constitutional benches straight away saying on this what personal search is and how the effect will be there. And the third, Baljinder Singh's case, that only that part will go. Latest 2020, that only that part will go, which is there from the personal search. So I think I am over with the basic information for these two sections of these two things, or they say the recovery procedure which are before the recovery. So I'm thankful to you all.
So thank you very much. I think you have touched upon the very basic things which are very, very essential in search and recovery proceedings.
Thank you very much.
So we will in next session move ahead and we'll discuss post-recovery or the things which are essential after the recovery is made. So can we take a few questions? I think there are a few questions in there.
Definitely.
one question is whether these violations of important provisions, whether 41, 42, 43, 50, can these be looked at the stage of charge only, or at the stage of charge we can skip these essential things?
A good question, I will say. But since this is a matter of evidence, now see, take the case of personal search, from where the recovery was effected, whether the option was given to him, whether right was actually made known to him. All these things are a question of fact, evidence, because still in the case I discussed it with when I was discussing the case of Baldev Singh, that they have left it open, that it is a matter of evidence from case to case. It will have to be decided whether these provisions have been complied with or not. Now see, similarly in 42, proviso has been added that if he feels that he can dispense with or he can run away, then in that case, even he can enter the building during the sunset and sunrise. So all these things are in fact to be brought before the court during evidence. So I think at the stage of charge, one should not, I will not say, but it is desirable that he should not go into the case. Charge should be framed. Yes, then he can be acquitted due to lapse of not following these mandatory provisions, which are mandatory.
Right. Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So that we'll go ahead with framing our charge, and we'll see these things at the time of appreciation of evidence. Whatever evidence comes in that respect, we have to see that.
Definitely.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next, one of the participants wants to again to be guided on the chance recovery and personal search. So if you could repeat overview of this.
Yes, I will. It is my pleasure. See, when we read the section 50, which is pertaining to personal search, it opens with the wording. I will read from the section itself because it will be very clear. And if the officer who has made the query can read this section 50, when any officer duly authorized under section 40, when any officer duly authorized under section 42, which means that either he is having this from personal knowledge or from information received, that any person under section 1 shall, if such person wrote, so is going to search. So it is that only in case of chance recovery cases, this section will not prevail. Only if there is a prior information, then this section will be applicable. First thing. Then, what is chance recovery? It has not been well defined that what is chance recovery. And this has been so held, I told you, in a state of Himachal Pradesh versus Sunil Kumar. In 2014, for SCC page 783. But if we go for that, what is chance recovery? If the officer is, say, I will give you an example to make it more abundantly clear. Say a gun is recovered from accused A or a person A, a double barrel gun which he is holding in his hand. Then for that, a separate writing is done. Rukka is sent for registration of the case under section 25 of that. And then he is searched, which is naturally to be carried out. And during that search, it is found that in his pocket something is recovered, which is contraband. For that, Section 50's requirement is not applicable. So that is why I used the word police officer stumbles on narcotics, or while searching for some other thing, found accidentally from his pocket some charas. That is a chance recovery. And in chance recovery cases, no need to give the information to him that you are having this right if you want to. I am apprehending that you are having this drug with you. Because in that case, why he is to be given the right? That from the knowledge or from otherwise, I am having this information that you are having some drug. And similarly, suppose if in car, a car is intercepted under Section 43, there is no information. If there is information, yes, of course, then the scenario will be different. If he is stopped and during the search of the car, under the seat of the driver, a bag is found which contains opium, and then search of all the 4 occupants of the car is taken. And then from all the 4, a small quantity of opium, charas, ganja, heroin is recovered. Then section will not be applicable because this is a chance recovery. Is it clear, sir?
I think you have made it very clear now. And this answers one of the questions from our one participant who was asking whether Section 50 is mandatory in case of chance recovery. So now you have elaborately done and dealt
it is
with
not applicable even. What to talk of mandatory? Yes. It is not applicable even.
Yes.
See, yes. When the officers will read the para 57 in which there are 10 points in Baldev Singh's case, they will themselves be clear more than me that it is not applicable in chance recovery.
Right, sir. Yes. So there is another question, sir. What is the difference between warrant and authorization under Section 41? Whether they are same thing and alternate?
They are two separate things. They are two separate
things.
They are two separate things. Because warrant is to be given by the court that yes, you are hereby authorized under Section 41, since you have shown it that you want to exercise the rate in the area in order to find out all the things which I have said in detail. I don't want to go to that because it will be consuming time. Then in that case, warrant is to be given. I said that there are 3 things in Section 41. Second thing is that authorization, that is empowerment. Empowerment given to the gazetted officers only. Section 41 deals with gazetted officers only. So this empowerment can be by general or special order of the state government or of the central government, depending upon the officer who is to be empowered, whether he is a central government employee of some department which are relevant to the narcotic drug area or to the state government. And if they are of the state government, then notification of the state government empowering that person, and then that empowered officer himself can enter without the warrants, where he cannot take the warrants even, he can enter. Then third one is any other officer subordinate to the empowered officer, who is officer delegated with the power by the empowered officer, only for a particular transaction. Then he cannot go for all the transactions. This is the difference. And it speaks of 3 parts: 1 warrant, 1 empowerment, and 1 delegation of powers by the gazetted officer who is empowered to his work. I think I have made it clear. If something more is required, that can be specific.
I think this is very, very clear now. This would give sufficient understanding to the participants about what is the difference between warrant and authorization. So there is another question posed by one of the participants. rather you have in fact dealt with it. It says, can there be partly a chance recovery and partly recovery based on information?
Yes, in that case, if the information is with regard to the drugs, then there will be no chance recovery from that person. See, can I make it more elaborate? Say there is an information, Rajiv ji, that a person is coming in car from, say, area of Sadar police station, in which he is coming with contraband, which is loaded in his car. Now that information, according to section 42, is to be recorded in writing. But if he says that yes, there is no time left, because the time which has been stated in the information is just 5 minutes thereafter. So he is rushing to the area and he will do that because he is not in the police station. Now, information is there. It will not be a chance recovery for that person. Even if something is found from his person, then he is to give the option of the section 50. Yes, if that is not given, at the most, what will be there? That if 5 grams charas is recovered from his pocket, then the recovery which is there from the car will not go. As in Baljinder Singh's case, I have made a detailed, I have said in detail regarding that. In that case, it will not be there. But yes, if there is no information at all with regard to the car also, the car is stopped by chance in order to check at the Nakabandi, in order to see the bad elements, then in that case, if recovery is there from the car, which is again a chance recovery, and again from the person, which is again a chance recovery, then the requirement of section 50 is not. But so far as the recovery from the vehicles, from the bags, from the other things which are not in the wearing. Now here I am very thankful to this person who said it. I forgot to discuss one point. I think I told you in the beginning that the subsection 4 of section 50 says no body of the female shall be touched except by the female. Now this was the main thrust, that personal search will be only if the body of a person is to be searched. Now this is also one of the logics of personal search. Now if the body of the person is not to be touched, and the person can be said, "Ye thalla utar niche aur main isko dekhna chahta hu," then that will not be. Yes, अगर उसके कोट की जेब में हाथ डालना पड़ता है, तो वो personal search. So chance recovery, there cannot be a case where it can be said with a chance recovery or an information recovery. If it is information, then in that case, that particular case, there will be no chance.
Right, very right, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
There is one more question. It says whether for getting this option from the accused person of whether he is to be searched in presence of magistrate or gazetted officer. So is it option available to the accused that he wants to be searched in presence of magistrate only and not in presence of gazetted officer?
Yes, because it is an option to him. By exercising his right, he can say, I be taken to the magistrate or I be taken to the gazetted officer of your department, in whom he is having the more faith. He can say to be taken before that officer.
Yes, sir. Right, sir. There is another question on similar lines, whether gazetted officer proceeding under section 42 is also bound to follow section 50.
Yes, it is important. First, to my mind, when he has said that gazetted officer be called, I want to be searched for only gazetted officer, then in that case, it is not the requirement of the law that person should again tell him that I am a gazetted officer of this department. Now I have to search you. Do you want to be searched taken by me or you want some other officer? No, it is not required. It is not required, but there are authorities. I agree, the person who has asked this must have read those authorities because it is said कि वो वहां गया and he again asked him that whether, but he said, no, I have faith on you, and then that person said. But see, the thrust of the section, it specifically says that first, that he is to be informed, what he is to be informed, that you have the right, if you so require, that you can with the to be taken to the nearest gazetted officer or to the magistrate. And if he says that yes, I want to go before the gazetted officer, then gazetted officer before whom is taken or any gazetted officer who is brought at the site can straight away go with the search. And here one thing more is there in section, that if that such person sees that there is no reasonable ground for search, he can said that go away. Discharged, you are hereby discharged without taking the search. So, but there is no requirement in this section that that person again should go with the same procedure. But that procedure is only for the first person, the first IO, who is empowered officer to make him aware that this is your right. Then gazetted officer or the magistrate. In this way, there will be no end. Why I am saying so? Rajiv ji, there will be no end. Now say if a person is taken to the magistrate, if it is required by the magistrate to again say कि भाई मैं magistrate हूँ और आपकी तलाशी लेना चाहता हूँ, क्या आप मेरे से तलाशी करवाओगे या मैं किसी और magistrate के पास भेजूंगा? तो there will be no end. वो कहेगा नहीं आप पे तो मेरे को विश्वास नहीं है, मुझे और किसी के पास भेजिए.
Right.
So,
right.
So it is not there, sir.
Yeah. That means the suspect may have a right to be searched in presence of a magistrate or gazetted officer, but he has not to specify a particular choice.
Yes, yes, he cannot give a particular choice. कि मुझे तो आप custom के AP Singh के पास लेके जाओ जी. No, he cannot.
Right. So thank you. I think there are no more questions in chat box and Q&A box. So with this, we can end this session, and hopefully we'll have this third session on NDPS Act, other nuances of NDPS Act on Saturdays. So I will let you know
after seeing my availability.
Yes, sir. So most likely we are having it on Saturday, but subject to the
not this Saturday, sir. Not this Saturday. Not this Saturday.
Yes. Plan it. We'll plan it, sir.
And it will be on next Saturday because I have not yet seen the time schedule. So we will definitely be doing it in next week. We will not delay it further.
Right. Sure, sir. So thank you very much, sir.
I am grateful, sir.
You have elaborately dealt with the various provisions which touch upon the search procedure, pre-search procedure, pre-recovery procedure rather, so which includes search and seizure. So it is very, very helpful for participants, which include our judicial officers of all rank, our trainee officers, and then trainee officers from Telangana Judicial Academy. And we are also joined by public prosecutors and additional public prosecutors. So this program was very, very helpful to all of them, because the public prosecutor also form very, very essential component of justice delivery system. So they are also, I think, empowered by your discussion on these aspects.
I'm grateful by the word which I said, Gupta, but I actually feel that even the police officers should be sensitized with regard to these things. Because, see, unless they are who are at the helm of affairs of a pre-recovery procedure, they are in the complete know-how of how they have to do it. Then the courts will have only to say that yes, it has been complied with. Though knowledge is necessary for every limb of the criminal justice system, but it is more required for the investigating agency, I think.
Yes, sir, you're very right, because the police officer is the main person who has to do all these things which are essential in the scheme
Yes,
of DPS Act.
Because any
the
lacuna which has been left by him,
Yes,
sorry,
sir.
sorry. Because any lacuna which has been left by him can't be, set right by the prosecutor or the judge, however the interested or he may be having the knowledge.
Right. So public prosecutor can be collected by the investigating officer, by the police officer. You cannot improve upon, and the court would also not be in a position to do much if there are these mental lacuna.
Sir.
So definitely we'll try to have these programs for those persons who are into the investigation of NDPS Act cases also. Maybe in future we'll have these programs also.
But I think even the public prosecutors who have attended the program, they can tell them that follow these rules, do this thing. They can rather more elaborately and more, and their vernacular can make them understand that we have to do this.
Very right, sir. Very right. So thank you very much again, Mr. Mehta. Thank you, all the participants. And I'm thankful to Mr. M.K. Sharma, who was standby host today. So in next session, we'll meet again. So we'll plan it accordingly when to have this session. And we'll move ahead gradually so that we get all these things imbibed in our minds, so that we're very, very clear on these important nuances of NDPS Act. So thank you again. And with this, we'll close the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. Thank you, all the officers. Thank you very much.